What's going on? I am Nando.
And I'm DJ.
And this is Mostly Nitpicking, a podcast where every week we pick apart a piece of pop culture by looking exclusively at the details.
Woohoo!
This week, DJ, what are we? Some sort of nitpicking podcast?
I think we are.
I think so too. We're gonna nitpick everyone's, I would say, a contender for the worst movie I've ever seen in a movie theater. Definitely the worst movie I've ever seen in a movie theater that cost at least $150 million to make. Suicide Squad.
Nando, you have to refer to it as Academy Award winner Suicide Squad. That's in the rules.
And Academy Award winner Suicide Squad, parentheses 2016, because we're getting another Suicide Squad, although
true.
I believe that one is called The Suicide Squad.
Ooh.
We'll all understand that. That'll be easy to differentiate. I actually want to get, because this is part 5 or something of our Dance to the Joker series, where we are getting ready for the Joker movie, or Joker. Is it called Joker? I think it's just.
I believe it's
Joker
just called
now,
Joker. Yes.
Yeah. So we're getting ready for our Joker movie. And we're reviewing most of the media we can find that features in some respect the a version of classic Batman villain Joker. We've done most of the good stuff. And here we are. So we got Suicide Squad, which in the marketing, we all remember, really went heavy on like Joker. We're going to talk about this nonstop. And it was just, it is what it is. I think everybody knows what this movie was. And 3 years have passed, so maybe we all have different opinions now or perspective. I don't know.
I have to say, I agree. It is what it is. And what it is bad. It's bad.
Well, yeah, it really could be the worst movie I've ever seen. In a theater that wasn't like, I remember seeing a movie about like football once that was really bad, but that
Concussion?
feels like it. No. It was like about, and it wasn't even probably that bad. Just my memory of it is like, what the fuck is this? It's some sort of like high school football movie. I honestly can't even remember what it was, but I remember seeing it in theaters and going like, oh, I don't usually see movies in theaters that I like. I would never see this movie in real life because it's just not very good. Like I wouldn't watch it on a TV, but I definitely would never see a movie like this in the theater because I'd usually know to not do that. But with this, like I think it's definitely, and I have never seen like, I didn't watch Catwoman or any of the really bad big budget superhero movies of the early 2000s in theaters. So yeah, I think this is a very high contender for one of the worst movies I've ever seen in a movie theater. Not to say everything about it is bad, but on the whole, it is not good.
I think that's what kills me is that everything about it isn't bad, and it's almost like depressing because there's glimpses more in the first half of the movie than the second half, but there are glimpses that this movie, if done correctly, could be really good, and it just shits the bed so badly. Like, it's not even an atrocity. It's just bad. I would have preferred an atrocity.
Absolutely. I think it's like, and I think the word looking back, and when you get rid of the things that I do think are just like I think there's things about this that are just like bad. And it's like, that is bad. But I think there's other things that are like just like messy. And when you put all the messiness together, it comes off as it's as a product. It's more than messy. It is worse than the sum of its parts. Because like, the script isn't all that great. But it also it's not a. I don't think it had to have been a terrible script, but they forced the director to write it over the course of like 6 weeks, which is an unbelievable ask. So like that kind of reeks of like, this could have been good if it wasn't managed so poorly. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And then like the editing and everything behind that and the
soundtrack.
Promotion. Yeah.
The bad guys, some of the dialogue, it just reeks of garbage.
Yeah, and it's like the worst of what this movement can produce in terms of like, now this is the biggest thing on earth, like superhero movies. So a studio like Warner Brothers in this case, and we kind of know a lot of it, will like really micromanage and try to turn it into not like a fun little R-rated comedy or whatever it was probably envisioned as, like the next Guardians of the Galaxy, and then, you know, completely overcorrect and it loses everything that it was supposed to be. Try to think, I feel like we did a movie, or a movie has come out in the last, like kind of recently, where something like this has happened, where there was a vision and it seems to have gotten like muddled. I mean, I guess you could say that with the Justice League too, which is the best, you know, because everyone's always asking to release the Snyder Cut, but like a thing where it's like, you know what, this version we got wasn't good, and the version that we would have gotten with complete like directorial control and best case scenario probably wouldn't have been amazing, but at least would have been less of a mess.
Yeah.
Whereas this was just a mess. But yeah, so we're going to talk about Suicide Squad. I did want to break, because I brought up the cast of The Suicide Squad, which it is, so it is called that, and it's going to be released in 2 years, in 2021. And about, like, it's August 6th right now, although that could change, but, you know, kind of soon. So returning cast members, you got Margot Robbie, of course, because this is a Warner Brothers DC movie, so obviously the rules dictate that she has to be in it.
Obviously.
And she is playing Harley Quinn. Joel Kinnaman is back as Rick Flag. Jai Courtney is back as Captain Boomerang. And Viola Davis is back as Amanda Waller. And they tweet... James Gunn, who's directing it... No, yeah, so James Gunn, who's directing it, tweeted out a picture with all of these guys' names and then all of the new guys. So it does seem like this is the complete cast. The other big-name actors, or at least actors whose names people would recognize, and a lot of them are like mainstays of... James Gunn, like movies, like those actors that kind of follow him around. You got Taika Waititi. We have no idea who he is. Idris Elba is in there somewhere. Originally, people thought he was taking over for Will Smith as Deadshot, but now that doesn't seem like it. He might be Deathstroke. I really do believe, and I've believed this for a while, he'll be Bronze Tiger, just because he's kind of fit for that, and that's a smart character to add to this movie. Nathan Fillion is in there somewhere. Michael Rooker, Yondu, as we all know. John Cena is in there somewhere. Pete Davidson is in there somewhere. And then Peter Capaldi, Doctor Who from one Doctor Who ago. Paddington's neighbor, Peter Capaldi.
Oh.
But, yeah, so like it's a really strange, not like strange cast, but it's just like the characters they're using are different. Like Polka Dot Man is going to be in there, like King Shark, who you'd expect, a character called the Peacemaker, who I think is like kind of evil Captain America. Not evil, but way too extreme Captain America. So yeah, there's a lot. This one could be good, but again, that's what we said about the last one. So maybe there's just something fundamentally broken about this franchise in Hollywood.
I mean, I'm kind of bummed that Will Smith's not in it. I actually thought he was one of the better parts of this movie. I thought he had some moments in, like, his intro scene is really good. It's probably, like, the only good one in the whole movie. So that's, like, kind of a bummer. But, yeah, you said that comparison to Guardians of the Galaxy. And watching this again, I'm like, man, I think this movie tried to do some things like Guardians very poorly. And, I don't know, maybe with James Gunn they could actually succeed. But I guess my question is, do we really want another Suicide Squad movie? Like, why not just take all these people and make something else? Are we dying for...
Yeah, I totally agree. And that's the weirdest part is like, I kind of, the only way I can understand this going like logically in my head is James Gunn has always wanted to make a Suicide Squad movie. And after he got fired, they were like, after he got fired from Guardians, he was like, I'm going to go to DC. And they were like, what movie do you want to make? And he was like, Suicide Squad. And they were like, all right, that movie made enough money that it's not insane for us to make it again. But yeah, it's crazy that like, there's a couple of movies like Batman and Spider-Man that are those no-brainer. Of course we have to make one of those every 6 or 7 years, but also Suicide Squad. Like it's so weird. It's so weird. But it's also like, I don't know. I think it's the worst DC movie. And I know people that don't like Batman v Superman, usually there's like kind of a coin toss between which one is the worst. But I would say Batman v Superman at least is like more successful at being what it is. It knows that its Batman is supposed to be a murdering psychopath, even though I don't think it justifies it super well. But I think this movie does a lot of things on accident. Like it's just, doing what it can. Yeah, I don't know, man. This movie stinks. It's not good.
Pretty bad.
I think they should, not like I think they should reboot it. I think there's nothing about it that screams failure. Like, they made a cartoon, and the cartoon is supposed to canonically be like part of the Arkham games or something. It was like a spin-off cartoon movie called Batman Assault on Arkham Suicide Squad or something like that. It's a very confounding name. And that movie's good, so it's probably better. I mean, it's definitely better than this, so I don't see why not just make a movie, like, make that one. But
I mean, maybe they will. Maybe that's what this James Gunn movie will be. I would buy that. Maybe this is something he wanted to do. I just question why. Because also, and I guess we'll talk about it in the movie, but I think for this movie to work, you have to have a concept that it's something the Suicide Squad would do, which is so far, it's not present in this movie. Like, for all the problems with Enchantress, it's like, call Batman, call the Flash, call Wonder Woman. Like, don't call the Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
And the motivations are all off, and it's kind of ridiculous.
It's one of the weirdest movies. But, I mean, listen, we could do 2016 Suicide Squad. We could also, and this would be tough, do a 1935 Suicide Squad, which I just Googled Suicide Squad trying to find this one movie. And apparently there's a movie about firefighters from the 30s called Suicide Squad.
Oh, how about that?
So, yeah. And it seems like a very different kind of movie. And it's just about a firefighter rescue thing. Is Suicide Squad like a term we all know?
Well, that's a good question.
Like is that something that's been said throughout history?
Like, oh, the Suicide Squad.
Yeah, like, oh man, Henry V is going to take a bunch of guys down to Agincourt. They're a real suicide. Like, has that just always been a thing? And they kind of did it in the comics, and that word has been co-opted by this idea of a, bunch of random goon, villain, third-rate villains tied together to make one average supergroup. Like,
yeah, because Will Smith says it so matter-of-factly. What, are we some kind of Suicide Squad? Like, we're all just supposed to know what that means.
Yeah, what the heck? That might be, I don't know. But I think that's kind of it. Because it must be a thing. It must be, like, this must be a thing people know. I've never heard of it, but I'd also probably never be in a situation where I would, encounter or have to call whatever I'm doing a Suicide Squad. Like,
Nando, get your Suicide Squad ready. It's like,
I have to live a more Suicide Squad-y life. It's just, I live an unexamined homicide solo act life. It's the opposite of a Suicide Squad, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, so there was a movie called Assault on Arkham that came out the year of, it came out in 2014, was re-released in 2016 to coincide with Suicide Squad. It is set in the Arkham video game franchise, occurring after Origins, 2 years before Asylum. And yeah, it's just pretty much the Suicide Squad is made, and then they go do a mission. And it's pretty good. Like I said, it's better than this. After me and my two friends that I saw this with went to see the original Suicide Squad, we were so, like, unhappy that we watched this, and then we were like, okay, never mind. Kind of got it out of our system.
That's what you got to do. You got to be like, oh, this is, I'm going to watch this. And it's also like, you could watch it twice in the length of one Suicide Squad movie.
Yeah.
So that's nice. It's not too long.
It's 76 minutes. It's like a little cartoon. It's like back before movies had to be in, because this movie is so long, and it's full of stuff they cut, so it could have been even longer. Like, it could have been so long, Suicide Squad, the 2016 Academy Award-winning Suicide Squad. And, it's like, it's just like, there's so many movies where if it's bad but it's short, I'll excuse it a lot. I'll give it a lot more, like, whatever. It's like, it's bad, but it didn't make me hate it. And it didn't make me, like, sit there and just go, what am I doing with it at 2 hours? But yeah, no, Suicide Squad 2016 is pretty long. I'm going to look it up.
I think the extended is like 2:15, maybe a little less.
Too long.
Oh,
not like
so too long.
You're wrong. That is too long for a movie that's this bad to be. So the runtime of, you're right about, that's right. It's an hour or 2 hours and 14 minutes on the extended cut, and then 123 minutes on the distended cut, I guess, or whatever you call it. DJ, we're going to talk about this. We're going to spoil it, but who cares?
Spoil what? That it's bad?
The movie that has no twists, and the twists don't make any sense, and it's stupid. Would you... I want to... Because I know he'll get lost in this. Let's talk about the Joker. I want to start with the Joker. Because he kind of gets lost in this movie, too. The movie's not about him, and he just keeps, like, trying to pop his head in, like, hey, Joker! You know?
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Hello,
all right, you guys have fun.
Movie.
I'm going to go. Yep, Joker. It's me.
What's my motivation? Who knows?
Yeah, I'm
crazy
zany.
guys.
I watched Liar Liar earlier today, so I'm kind of doing that.
It's that and like The Mask.
Yeah, actually, The Mask is probably a better version of it. Yeah.
At one point he goes hunka hunka or it's like something like that. It's a comment, I think, and it's like straight out of The Mask.
I'm pretty sure at one point, I can't remember. Oh man, because they blur together. I'm pretty sure at one point, the Joker sees Harley Quinn and his face turns into an animated wolf's face and he howls at her. It might be a Mask thing, but I'm pretty sure that's what Jared Leto does. Yeah,
I think you're right.
It's so, and that's something I think that it took me a while to really notice is how unoriginal it is in its badness. Yeah. Like, for a while I was like, oh, he's trying to just do Jared Leto or Heath Ledger, but with a little kind of crappiness and like, not like crap, like, you know, dirtiness and grunginess. And he's, you know, maybe he's doing a little bit of a weird accent, but now it just feels like, now he's doing like a little bit of Heath Ledger and mostly The Mask. And he's, you know, like making kind of weird sounds, like rattling. But besides that, it's mostly The Mask.
Yeah. And it's bad. It's not even like it's so out of place and weird. And it's like, why is he doing this? Like, it doesn't.
It's not his bag. Jared Leto could be a more like subdued Joker and probably be better. Because I mean, he's an actor with versatility. But like, it's not like Jim Carrey where it's like you get Jim Carrey and you get this. Like, you get The Mask. You know, for like Robotnik, you kind of we all know what that's gonna be. But with this, it's so weird that he went in this direction. And so much of me is like, well, did he decide it was this? Did the director push him to this? You know, I'd like to see. I wish there was a fly on the wall at this movie.
It doesn't make sense for his character at all. Like, it's not like you're watching this and you're like, oh, yes, this Joker character. Oh, everything makes sense. It's just like, he seems like, if he's this crazy, how is he so coordinated in how he... Like, why is anyone in the gang listening to him? Because, like, he'll just shoot a guy randomly. Like, just take him out. You can't have this fucking guy running the show. You're all going to get caught because he's going to just fall asleep on the street and be like, oh, I did it.
Right. They're all, like... You could maybe make a version of this movie where the actual Suicide Squad is much more... I mean, this would be probably boring, but... If you wanted to sell what this Joker's, what's interesting about him, make the Suicide Squad a lot more, you know, like matter of fact. I'm an assassin. I kill people, but I have this code of whatever, and like, you know, I'm a bank robber and I kill people, but I never kill people I work with. But like, if you did that, you could have the Joker come in and just be like, I'll kill whoever. I kill people for fun. Sometimes I don't even know which one I kill. You know, boy, am I crazy. But in this, like, you know, Captain Boomerang kills random dudes on his team. Harley Quinn shoots random people for fun. So, like, he's not more dangerous than any of the rest of them. He doesn't seem to be all that much smarter.
Yeah, I don't know what he does that's so incredibly smart. I mean, I guess he breaks Harley out of jail, but how much of that was him and how much of it was like his boys?
Yeah, you figure you could just call any villain like Penguin and be like, hey, go to whatever it is, Wayne Technologies, figure out how to figure out how to do, because like actually, you know what, that's true. He breaks her out twice. I'm thinking the first time when he's been working the tracker thingies, you could just call, you know, the Riddler and be like, hey, you're going to go to this place, torture this guy, you'll get the codes, and then we can all go home. And then later, it's like, it's nothing. It's just they all storm in, blow up a wall, and then leave. Like, there's nothing special. There's nothing like, it's not like chattering teeth show up and then explode. It's just explosions. I think, because we did a version of this, we used to do, and very, very infrequently, we would do something called a recap episode on our old show, Mad Bracket Status, which you can still find in this feed, where we would talk about, like this, Batman v Superman, Civil War, big, like, comic book movie releases. And this is back when we did, like, a live stream, so it made more sense. And we were in the same room, so it's, like, easier to coordinate. The thing with this, and I had asked this question on that, I'm trying not to cover too much ground, I'll try to cover mostly new ground, but with that, it's like, why bother making him the Joker at all? Like, if you stop calling him the Joker and he doesn't wear purple, he immediately is not the Joker. He is Black Mask or any of Batman's various, like, non-superpowered gangstery villains.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's insane that they did that with the Joker, probably arguably the most recognizable villain in popular culture.
Yeah, and just, God, the look was so bad.
Oh, yeah, it was hideous, and there was no reason for it. The other characters kind of looked like Captain Boomerang, I would say, is probably my favorite individual costume in the movie. But I like Harley Quinn, her costuming was pretty good. Katana, they did a good job with her costuming. And what they seemed to kind of do was go like, okay, so let's take this comic book costume and then just like kind of pare it down, make it out in normal clothes that a normal person going to this movie would wear. And then they did that with Joker, except then they went like, we'll give him grills from like, the 2007, I don't know when I was in high school when that song came out, but like they did all these other things. I'm like, well, why are you doing this? Because he doesn't feel more real. He feels more out of place and like, but like not in a cool way, like in a this isn't working way.
Yeah, so they tried to make him a gangster type character, which is fine because you could argue like Jack Nicholson's character, like in the Joker, like he is just a gangster, right? Just more of what you think of at that time. And, times change and now this is what it looks like. But it's so heavy-handed that it just kind of sucks. Well, like, it feels like it was made to sell Hot Topic gear. That's what this movie was made to do.
And I think the thing about the Joker, more than the rest of these villains and like other Batman villains, is he's not supposed to be likable, but he's supposed to be just full of charisma, boundless charisma. And the feeling that I get most watching him later, when I'm not just like, when I watched it the first time, I was just like, oh my God, what is happening? This is strange, but not in a good way. The feeling I kind of feel most watching this again is just like embarrassed for him. Like, I'm like, oh, it was dated immediately. It's not working. Like, it's not scary and it's not like fun. It's not funny. It's not engaged. Like, it just makes me feel so like, it's just like cringy.
Yeah, there's no part of his performance that is enjoyable. Like none of it.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
His intro is terrible. His motivations in the movie make no sense. Like no sense at all. Like I can't even think of a version of the Joker who would go through like this much trouble to like rescue Harley Quinn without some immediate other gain. Like Joker's thing is to like fuck with Batman. It's his whole thing.
I also, like, really when you wipe the charisma away from it, it really makes the Joker-Harley relationship makes no sense. Because we get a lot of it in flashbacks, which I think could work. I think you could make a whole movie out of Joker-Harley. But also, I think you can, like, having seen a movie where they really, or having played, like, Arkham Origins, where they also kind of weave that into the story and it's, 5 minutes max. I think you can do it quickly. And I'm sure they did in the cartoon. But, like, he's so uncool and unlikable and uninteresting that you watch them together and she, like, falls in love with him. And you're like, was he your first patient? Would anybody have walked through that door and you would have fallen in love with them too? Because he sucks.
He does.
He's not handsome. There's nothing about him. I don't understand. It's like there's, I feel like I may have even I talked to people about this week, but it wasn't for this. One of my favorite Saturday Night Live sketches of the last maybe like, I don't know, 10 years or however long it's been since it just came out, also has Margot Robbie, which is the fun of it. And it's a sinkhole and the news is reporting on it after the fact. So they get two bystanders, and one of them is Margot Robbie as like a just like red dress supermodel, looking Margot Robbie next to this dorky guy, and it turns out that he's her husband. And as the interview goes on, everyone's just trying to figure out what's the deal. Like, why are they together? Because he sucks so much and she's so great, and you keep finding out more about him over the interview, and just he gets worse and worse and worse and worse. And you're like, well, what is it? Why? And that's what it is with me with this Joker. I'm just sitting there like, he's not clever. He just has guys with guns, and like he doesn't seem like, and it only works because there's no other Batman villains up until this point. We've never had a solo Batman movie in the DCEU, so we never saw the Riddler, we never saw the Penguin or Two-Face. They all could have done every single thing he does.
Yeah, and the other thing too is that all of his bits are so like hacky, like, oh, all of his goons are walking around shooting machine guns in like a big panda suit, or wearing a weird scary mask, and it's like, this isn't entertaining, it's not fun, it's not clever, it sucks.
It kind of seems like it was designed for memes by someone that didn't know what a meme was.
Yeah.
Like, they were like, we gotta make this. What do the kids love on the internet now? Pandas. All right, well, we'll put one of the gunners in a panda suit. Like, but again, this movie was written over the course of 6 weeks, and I'm sure it was heavily edited on set on the day. So I could see any of those decisions also being like, hey, tomorrow we're shooting this scene. You know, it'd be funny if we got a panda suit. And then that's what we ended up with, because a lot of it is just so, nonsensical. Like, at least in Dark Knight, the Joker has goons, but they're just mostly goons because it's so grounded and real. What's the one called, the cartoon, the Batman Beyond one, Return of the Joker, he picks up goons that are Halloween themed already, so he doesn't really have any control over that. But in 66 and in 89, he has a goon. His goons have one theme. They're all dressed like that because he has picked it, because he is a specific guy. And this Joker really just feels like, whatever. If anybody's on the street, anyone wants to join my group of murderers,
there's no theme.
Show up on the day with an outfit. Yeah, like, go crazy. Open-ended project. No wrong answers here. Just look strange. Which is not good. Like, you could maybe get away with that with a character like Black Mask, where his whole thing is just, we're all wearing masks. Doesn't matter which one. You find one, wear it. And like, even when you rob a bank, you all wear Nixon masks or something. Like, yeah. He's the worst. There's no coordination. And it just points to, like, well, again, like, what is special about this guy? Is it just that he wears a purple coat and he has white face? Like, yeah. Drives a purple car.
A purple Lamborghini that is not, in fact, a Lamborghini. I know I mentioned this when we did it. It was like or did you
Nissan
mention it?
With a body kit or something.
Yeah. Ricky Rose. I do like that song. Like, it's maybe like guilty pleasure, but I'm like, yeah, this song kind of slaps. I kind of like this.
I don't mind Sucker for Pain either. Imagine Dragons kind of, I think I've not like gotten over them. I was never their biggest fan, but they were like kind of new when they like Radioactive, and like, oh man, this is a different sound, and then it ran its course. But
let me be very
I remember
clear.
when that came out.
I think all of the music placement in the movie is terrible, and may have been done by a 6th grader, but like the songs themselves in a vacuum, like, I don't hate them.
No, yeah, it's not bad at all. It honestly seems like it could have been done by someone having Spotify open. I don't know if they do this still, but maybe. And having it on your phone, pressing the microphone button, and then just having it listen to dialogue in the movie, and then it would hear words like Belle Rev, prison, New Orleans, and then kind of cycle through what song is that, and then it would pick a song, and it would be House of the Rising Sun, because it has some of those words in it, or it is by a band from there. Like, it's so flat and boring. But okay, so the Joker is the worst. He's getting no yo-hos from me.
If I could take away yo-hos from him, I would.
I was going to say, we can give him some yo-nos. He gets 7 or 8 yo-nos.
I would have preferred to put the Joker from the 60s Batman movie into this movie, if at all possible. I think that would have been a better option.
Yeah. You know what? Like, I think the Hamill Joker would be a little out of place here. Obviously, the Heath Ledger Joker would fit right in, just with the general aesthetic. And he, I would say, even more than this one, at the time, is timeless, where there's nothing about him where you're like, oh, this guy, he would never fit in. But I think you could also probably get Nicholson or what's the actor's name? Cesar Romero, and just be like, that's the thing about this Joker. Everyone here is very, like, grungy and, I guess not grungy, but like grimy and normal. And this guy has like a costume and he's fancy and it's clean because he's doing his best at all times. Like, and he has all the time in the world to prepare for this. Like, he's been thinking about it. So he found some weird hat and he's got that, and all of his goons have, they're all dressed like mimes or whatever. They all have little berets, or pirates. They're probably all pirates if we know anything about the Joker. But in this, it's so thrown together. You know what? The more I think about it, the more you could, I think, Mark Hamill Joker, if he was a person, would fit right in here. They would all be better, but I guess they couldn't, like, sit in a floor covered in knives and whatever. That wouldn't work.
Who organized that? Who was like, yes, this is like in the movie? Like, in
the movie,
who put that together?
They might have just all been there. Like, someone may have just been cleaning up the knife closet and just put them down in the floor and been like, all right, so we're gonna have to organize them by, like, size. So we'll do, like, circles, and then, we'll figure it out. And then the Joker just came in the room and was like, you know what? This would be fun for, like, an Instagram story. And then you get on a ladder above me, and then I'll laugh and do my fancy Joker brand of weirdness, my knife-themed weirdness. And that's another thing. I don't remember the Joker being big on knives before The Dark Knight, right? Like, that's not...
Yeah.
Sometimes he's been cut in the face, but I don't think that's... in the 89 movie, he just shot in the face, and that's why he's got weird mouth. And in the cartoons, he just had that face, and I think that was always how it worked. He just had a big old smile because he was a cartoon character or in comic book or whatever, so the exaggerated features. And then they really pared down what the Joker in Dark Knight was to really basic stuff. So it was just like, he's got a bunch of knives. And then it seemed like these guys kind of only knew about that part of him. And we're like, all right, so load him up with knives like usual. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. And I don't know if it's because, like, playing up the I almost understood it in The Dark Knight because it's how he told the story, like, oh, this is what happened to me. I got cut with a knife, blah, 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 make up some story. So that I kind of got here. I don't know if it's the, like, really trying to make up like a gang leader kind of thing, but even then you'd think that would be guns.
Right. And like Tommy guns or something. Yeah. Some sort of like, because the Joker is supposed to be like extra, And like,
exactly.
He's always like one more level beyond whatever the normal thing would be. So yeah, I think guns make way more sense for this character.
Yes, for sure.
But also, like, he doesn't even really use knives. He has some on this floor, but I don't think he uses a knife in the movie. Right? So, like, what are they even... Maybe that's just like a pattern on his carpet.
No, I think they were all there.
Because he has pistols.
Terrible choice. They're all there. Yeah.
His main thing. And then he has that gold kind of AK-47, which is like, you're close. You're so close. That's as close as they got. But then it doesn't have to be like, a joy buzzer or a rose that shoots out acid on your lapel. But it kind of has to be like getting to that.
Yeah, it should be like a gag.
Well, that's the other thing.
He's just a psycho gang member in this. There's no gag.
So they give Harley the hammer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Does she use it in the movie? I think it's abandoned immediately for the bat.
Yeah, she definitely beats up the putties with only the bat.
And she uses the bat in the elevator, and
yep.
I don't think there's even like a real bit, because then that's the weirdest part of it too with the knives is they went like, okay, so he's gonna have 1 million knives, and then there was somebody else that was involved with the production that like didn't get that memo and was just like, all right, so He's using guns, right? And the same with Harley Quinn, where there was someone at some level that was like, okay, so she's got big hammers, right? Like she's known for that. And that's why I think that could have worked as a way to make Harley Quinn a little bit more, unusual. Although I think she did a way better job than, the Joker. But like the Joker could have used a hammer or something. Like I feel like this Joker. So this is, I'd say, the biggest determining, like, kind of, like canary in the coal mine, but like test of how this Joker fails, and specifically, like he really fails it. And I think all of the rest of them more or less succeed. I think one of the rules of Joker should be the Joker does a crime you don't see, right? Like everybody at the crime. He massacres everybody at the crime, or maybe even only a couple people. But the police get there and are immediately like, the Joker did this, right?
Yes.
Like, he has made everyone get smiles, or he cut smiles into people, or there's some sort of fake grenades or whatever. And with this Joker, you get the feeling like the cops would have, it would take them weeks. They'd have to go back to the corkboard and with pictures of all of the villains and go, where was Riddler last night? He was out. Okay, can't be him. And then eventually they would maybe land on Joker.
Maybe.
Like, he just shoots people. It's not creative. It's so weird. Also, he dies in a helicopter crash, so who cares?
Oh,
Pretty
God,
much.
The way that people live through helicopter crashes in this movie are incredible. There's one point where the whole squad's in it, just bouncing around the ground. It's like, everybody okay? Oh, I know that helicopter crash. Thank God we ran out of gas, I guess. Oh, man.
Why do you think that was?
I don't
Why
know.
do you think they never landed a helicopter in this movie?
I don't know. They do it once, but it's so bad. Do
you think it's because, like, it's more expensive to film a helicopter landing than to just build a set of a destroyed helicopter and have your characters walk out of it?
That's a good theory. Because
that's the only way a helicopter goes down or, like, lands in this movie is, like, via a disaster. But I'm like legitimately wondering if there is some sort of behind the scenes reason why all of the helicopters in this movie crash. But
it's a good question.
Yeah.
Or whoever made this movie was like, oh, we need a lot more action and whatever in this movie. All right, what's actiony? Oh, helicopter crashes? Fuck yeah. America.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And it was like, so our characters have action scenes, but then what else are they doing? They're mostly walking down streets. Well, what else happens? They ride in a helicopter. I mean, we could just make the streets crash, but I don't know what that would mean. So I guess we're going to have to make the helicopters crash or something.
We could show car
People
crashes.
keep falling asleep at these screenings. We need to make everything crash. Like it's like Aquaman, how they don't know how to do a scene transition, so just something explodes. And at least with that, I kind of get where, because it's like, James Wan is a horror, sure, that's what his background is. But with this, it's like, I mean, and you know what? David Ayer made Fury, the tank movie where tanks explode. So maybe that's it. Maybe just like Roland Emmerich with buildings. He just wants to see military vehicles explode as much as possible.
They had to blow out the budget.
Like, where do you think the money in this movie went?
Well, makeup, apparently. Apparently, all its hair and makeup.
It was okay makeup. I think sometimes it was great, sometimes it was fine. I would say hair and makeup. Like, are we considering Killer Croc makeup? Because I think he was horrible.
Really? I think that's one of the Oscars, Killer Croc stuff.
I think like the Harley Quinn stuff and like the Joker was what won them, like hair and makeup. Wait, so it's hair and makeup. It wasn't costumes, right? Because the costumes I think were okay.
It was hair and makeup.
So like, I gotta look at these characters again. Deadshot had none. Amanda Waller had none. Like, not like none, but they didn't,
Standard
they just looked like those actors usually look.
Yeah.
Put them in a movie where they're, I don't know what he's doing now. He's a genie, I guess, so that doesn't work. Put him in a movie where he's a cop. Any other cop movie. That's what Will Smith looks like. So you got those two. Jai Courtney had, like, the mutton chops. Those seem like something he doesn't usually have. So, like, that's something. And, like, facial hair. You know what? That part of him, I think, is actually pretty good. And, see, they all had, like, makeup. But their makeup was all, like, the makeup that, like, Elmer Fudd would get if, like, Bugs Bunny put a carrot in his gun and it exploded in his face. So it's not really that much, like, as makeup as much as just dirt. Because that's what him and, like, Diablo and Katana and a lot of characters just had a bunch of dirt. Although maybe it's Diablo with his tattoos. They probably like that.
Oh, yeah, it's another one, too, yeah.
Enchantress, she had a fair amount of makeup.
Joker's weird tattoos, we're going to give him credit.
Oh, I forgot about the tattoos. They're barely in the movie. That's so weird about it.
Yeah.
He could have not worn a shirt through the whole movie, and I'd kind of maybe get it. I'd be like, I'd still probably have a lot of issues with him, but I'd at least maybe more be like, oh, that's a choice. That's what this Joker does. I don't know. He's got an 8-pack and he's gonna show it to the world. But there's how many scenes are there with the shirt off?
A lot, I feel, right?
Are there?
Oh, God. See, I can't remember when he's like, he's sometimes in the tracksuit. He's sometimes in he sometimes has like the unbuttoned shirt, right?
Yes, that he does a fair amount. The scene where he turns Harley Quinn into Harley Quinn, he is not wearing a shirt.
Yeah.
Because after that, he puts on the purple jacket with no shirt on, or coat or whatever.
Yeah.
It's a nice coat. A lot of good coats in this movie, if we're being honest. I like the Captain Boomerang coat. I like Joker's coat. Those are probably the only two.
Common had a lot of tattoos that I don't think are his.
That's true. Yeah, they tattooed him up like crazy and gave him like a nose ring. And they didn't. His character isn't anybody. There's no good reason for any of it. Common's not Mr. Rogers. You wouldn't see him the way he normally looks at a club and be like, wait, what's he doing there? He should be in church. No, you'd be like, yeah, I don't know. He's a rapper in real life. It's fine. Everybody in this movie doesn't have to look like a. I don't even know. Like an Ed Hardy shirt, but they all do.
Oh God, yeah.
The ones that they go overboard with, I guess, because some of them, like I said, just look like normal people. But when they're like, give him tattoos, you mean cover his whole body in tattoos? I guess, yeah. The tattoo budget is probably where they lost everything.
I think that's all the money, man. I think that's where all the fucking money went.
It's expensive because you have to do that every day, and it has to look exactly the same. There's a lot of reference photography, and I'm sure they have to redo a lot of it because it gets smudgy or whatever. So there's Diablo, it looks fine. He looks like that guy who just testified that everyone's in the Bloods. What's his name?
Oh God, I don't know.
You know who I'm talking about? I want to say his name is 69X or something. He's a rapper. I think he's the rapper that turned out was British for the whole time. Maybe 6 months ago.
21 Savage.
Oh, maybe this is a different guy. If you have a number in your name, you're getting confused. Yeah, because this is definitely a different guy.
21 Savage was he was going to get deported from Atlanta because it turned out he was a UK citizen.
Yeah, so I actually screwed this up. Right now it's Takeshi 69. That's the guy.
Oh, yeah.
So he very much I guess Post Malone and a lot of, I don't even know what kind of genre this is, but I have a face that's just covered in tattoos. And maybe Suicide Squad was ahead of its time. Because rappers in 2016 did not look like this, but now they all do.
Yeah, it's true. Oh, man. Look at that.
Do young people like Suicide Squad and look up to this Joker?
Well, I would have to ask. I don't think that's the case, but I'm telling you, this movie was made so they could put shit right from here into Hot Topic. It was like an expressway.
And I'm sure it sold like crazy. There's no way that Harley Quinn wasn't top 5 girls Halloween costume 2016.
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
Although I don't know if I don't know if girls Halloween costumes are just a staple of Frozen's now, and just all the Frozen characters, and there's just 6 of them that'll never get toppled. The same way that Spider-Man will always be there.
Yeah,
but yeah, I think. Now looking at it, there's some guys that look like the Joker now. So they kind of nailed it.
Yeah, right.
I'm proud of them.
Oh God. It's terrible.
It is terrible. Okay, let's talk. All right, so hair and makeup, pretty good. Are there characters I'm forgetting? I didn't like Croc. Did you like Killer Croc?
Like his makeup?
Yeah, I like the look of the character in general, but I guess the makeup is doing 80% of the work. So
I don't know. I thought it was fine. I thought it was pretty unmemorable, to be honest.
Yeah, if you made me name all the Suicide Squad members, he'd probably be the one I forget. I'd probably remember Slipknot before him because at least he's kind of funny. What his whole deal is kind of entertaining. But with that, I'm he didn't do anything. He didn't have a personality. Just kind of BET or whatever. He also felt kind of David Ayer wrote this movie. I'm pretty sure he's pretty white. I'm hoping that the actor that plays Killer Croc improvised most of those lines on set.
Hopefully.
Because if David Ayer was all right, so she gets an espresso machine and he gets BET, right? That's what he would want.
Yeah.
I never even, back when he was a character, because I don't know what, if this Killer Croc is supposed to be any race whatsoever, but the actor that plays him is the guy that plays like Mr. Echo on Lost, so he's like a black guy. I never associated that with Killer Croc, but it also didn't seem like an intentional kind of like Deadshot, like we're gonna just do something different with the character. You know?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It felt like kind of lazy, or right, because it at least Deadshot shit was fleshed out, right? Like, oh, we understand why his motivations are such they are.
Yeah, he has a character, enough of a character that you can say, like, we are going to use this actor instead of this actor, and he may appear different, but he will have the core Deadshot qualities that you would recognize that character for. Mostly just he loves his daughter, and and he's like an assassin, but he doesn't, he has like a pretty strict code. He's very organized. But yeah, I don't know what the Killer Croc ones of those are. I always thought his main trait was that he was kind of dumb. He wasn't all that clever.
Big crocodile man. Like,
yeah, and there was that great episode of the animated series of Batman where all the villains are telling their stories, and his story is just, I threw a rock at Batman once, even though it turns out that he is Batman in disguise in that one. But I mean, that Batman knows that that's a believable story for Killer Croc to tell.
Yeah.
But
oh god, and like. Slipknot, right. I do have to say that the way this movie would just take a character and throw them into the movie, and like almost literally just like grab them and say, oh, here you go, and now that you're in the movie now, was pretty dumb.
Oh, yeah. Some of them, like Harley Quinn gets 2 or 3 introductions. Deadshot gets 1. Boomerang gets 1. Diablo gets a really short one.
Yeah, Katana just shows up.
Katana just shows up.
And like he does not fucking Rick Flag is like, this is Katana. She does this, and this. Literally, all he has to say is, this is Katana. Doesn't matter who she is. She'll kill you if you run. Like, that's all.
This is Katana. Hold on, let me get in the Wikipedia open. Samurai DC Comics character. Hold on. Created in 1970. What? Like,
might as well. Like,
powers and abilities, sword that traps the souls of its victims. Like, he it does feel like if like they introduced Slipknot and like, this is Slipknot, the man that can climb anything, and like Captain Boomerang wasn't paying attention, like, wait a second, who's that? Rick Flag would go, don't worry, it's fine. It's important.
Yeah.
He's gone in like 2 scenes. Don't worry about it. This is a movie where you could both go to the bathroom, miss 5 scenes, be super confused, and also have not missed anything important. Like, you would just assume you missed a lot of stuff, and you'd be like, well, there's got to be a reason why these guys are mad that they're finding Amanda Waller, right? No, they're not. They're mad, but they shouldn't be. This should be the logical conclusion, or it shouldn't matter to them. At no point did the movie make the case for that. You just missed it. You missed the scenes in the middle where they mostly just walked around. There is walking in this movie.
Oh yeah, so much walking. There's an amazing thing too, right? Where, so again, talk about Guardians. Prior to this movie coming out, the formula was gifted to DC to say, oh, you want to make a movie where you're introducing a brand new cast of characters, and you want to use a certain kind of song genre to evoke certain emotions and yada, yada, yada. I'm not saying they need to copy like Guardians, scene for scene, but the fact that like for the character introductions in Guardians is done like very cleverly, and here it's like, here's their dossier, and here's a goofy little, oh, Captain Boomerang loves fucking pink unicorns, ah ha ha ha, fucking, isn't that fucking hilarious? Like, oh man, it's so frustrating, just like how they're like, oh, aren't we so cool and edgy? And it's like, no, you suck, you're boring, and you suck.
Well, and like, I'd say if you, because let's say Guardians didn't exist and they still wanted to make a Suicide Squad. I mean, they never would have. But like, let's say Warner Brothers got really brave, and in 2013, year before Guardians came out, they were like, we're going to break some ground. We're going to follow our Man of Steel with the Suicide Squad movie, which is essentially what they did. But this was back when like DC would, and they still do it, announce like 15 movies and make 2 just to see kind of what people reacted to. So like, let's say they did that. The template for how you do this is Ocean's 11, right? Little vignettes, scenes that are 30 seconds long max, and just show the characters doing a thing. And I think they understood that, because I think they did Deadshot, and I think they did Boomerang's introduction pretty well, where it's like, we're going to show you a minute in their day, and it's going to kind of show what they're good at and what they're character flaw is, or just like a quirk. But then they like ran out of gas, so they didn't do that with Killer Croc. They didn't really do that with Diablo, even though his origin was supposed to be a little secret. And then they did like they just showed a bunch of scenes with Harley Quinn that might as well be in this Birds of Prey movie that's coming out. So like I think it's so strange because these characters aren't all main characters. Like Killer Croc doesn't need that much of an arc. He needs the arc. He needs the same arc that all the Ocean's 11 characters have, which is he is insecure about this, he is not good at this, or this is going to cause him to fail a mission. So he does a mission. It kind of is a problem, but then he prevails. Like there's that one scene where I forget all of their names, but the one that's like the computer nerd has to plug a something into a something in a server room, and he's a little nervous Nelly, so he has written all the words in pen on his hand of like directions, but he sweats them all away so he stands provided. That's all that character does in that movie.
Yeah.
But that could be what you do with Killer Croc, and it would be fine. Like, I mean, you know what? They do it in Fast's movies too, when they're like, this is a character from a movie you haven't seen, but he's in this now. So here's like 30 seconds of him just living his life on a plane with a lot of models, but he's cheap. Or like blowing up an ATM machine because he's cool. But, it's so weird because they didn't have to break any new ground. They just had to figure out what kind of movie this was, and they couldn't do it. They thought this was like 7 or 8 different movies where they were like, it is kind of like Ocean's 11, but it's also just kind of like, your standard army movie, but it's also kind of like a Batman The Dark Knight kind of movie, like your very standard superhero movie. And I think if they had really gone head first in Ocean's 11, it would have been just so much easier to organize. You
could also make it a heist movie because that's what those movies typically are, right? They're heist movies. So
yeah, and that's what this movie is until it isn't.
Yeah,
like they're just like it really is just walking around. Like it's like we have to go here. If only our helicopter didn't explode like all them will in the future, because otherwise we could have just flown there and you guys wouldn't even had to get out of the helicopter. We landed on the front building and then just gotten this person out. But like they easily could have just been trying to do a heist but yeah, it's like a video game really. They're just walking around, level, waves of goons, the two of that. You like do that 3 times, the end of the movie. But also, where was I going with this? Oh, so you've got characters in this movie like if it's Ocean's 11, the way Ocean's 11 organizes it, because it isn't, you know what it might have been? They might have just seen that part where you get like, the 2 brothers racing cars and one has a monster truck and one has a little Hot Wheel or like a little RC car, and gone like, oh, okay, this is what we need, these little vignettes. And obviously they just forgot to do a couple of them, but they did some of them. What they clearly missed.
Like, intro scene's really good.
But you see, I think the problem is this movie couldn't decide who the main character was or if there was a main character, because that's not how the Ocean's movies work. The Ocean's movies start with Danny and Rusty, and then they get all the other guys. So, like, I think if this movie started maybe with the Deadshot scene, did all of Deadshot in prison, landed on Amanda Waller, maybe flashed back to her giving the Suicide Squad, like, speech, but didn't do it. And then, like, you didn't show all of them. You just showed her at that dinner being like, I want to do a Suicide Squad. You could do the army meeting, although I think you'd hide that because I don't think the way this movie works, they should have revealed all the Enchantress information, because I think that would have been a more interesting reveal later in the movie is like, wait a second, the Enchantress was on the Suicide Squad?
Right.
But then the scene where they all meet in the prison yard for the first time is when Rick Flag would be like, Captain Boomerang, here you are. And then you get a little bit of his like vignette. The fact that the movie front loads those in the first 25-30 minutes of this movie are their little origins, and they do a couple of them 2 or 3 times, is insane. That has never worked in a movie. Why did they? And the reason is because this movie was edited by a company that makes movie trailers. Did you know that? Did we talk about that in the first one of these? Or is that something that came out afterwards? It
sounds familiar, but I also feel like I'm hearing it for the first time.
Well, people may not know that. I guess like not everyone has listened to our thing, and I think this is important information. But like, so David Ayer made a cut of this movie. Apparently, it wasn't all that great. And then the trailer for the movie came out, and I really loved it, and it was a great trailer. It's the one with like Bohemian Rhapsody or something. And then Warner Brothers was like, trailer company, you guys seem to know how to edit this movie. Can you guys give us a cut of this movie? And then we'll kind of do testing and see if the Ayer cut or yours gets a better reaction. And theirs did, but probably just because the Ayer cut was like slower or just not good for its own reasons. So the trailer company ended up editing what was the final cut for this movie, which is like a ridiculous choice to make, like absolutely insane decision to make for an hour, for a 2-hour long movie as opposed to like a 2-minute long trailer.
Yeah, and I don't know if I'm having revisionist history on this, but I think this is right. Was there like an insane amount of hype for Suicide Squad when the trailer came out? Like, oh yeah, they get it. This is gonna be fun. Guardians 2.0. Woo!
I remember we watched it at your apartment after after recording a podcast. So like this would have been like probably early 2016, and we were like, "Oh, this looks pretty good. They may have figured it out." Like it's definitely not Batman v Superman, and I did not like that. So this should be there. I even think there were points where I was like, man, it's going to be so funny when this is a big hit and they have to reorganize the cinematic universe around these guys. Because Batman, everyone hates Batman and Superman, but they love the Suicide Squad. But then instead, we're still organizing the cinematic universe around these characters anyway, because the other ones still tripped at the finish line. But yeah, now you have like 2 Harley Quinn movies coming out in 2 years, which is also insane.
Oh, God.
How do you think she's going to go back to jail to be in the Suicide Squad again?
Just get caught doing something stupid? Isn't that how these work now?
Right? Yeah, that would be fun if at the end of Birds of Prey, she just like is on her way to 7-Eleven and then she like jaywalks and then she is taken to jail. And like, holy shit, Harley Quinn. Yeah, 15 counts of murder and jaywalking, which we can prosecute you for now. And the other ones we couldn't, I guess. So come right to jail and
it's like,
sit next
no
to
way, you
Pete
guys.
Davidson. Yeah.
How did this happen?
Couldn't believe her luck. Because this Harley Quinn also killed Jason Todd, I believe.
Do we know that?
Yeah, it's in her bio. It's like murdered Robin or something. And it's I even think, and this is even dumber, Zack Snyder has come out and said that the Robin that's murdered, that Bruce Wayne is like obsessing over in Batman v Superman, is actually Dick Grayson. So I guess she would have murdered him, but like hypothetically, in any other Batman story, it would have been Jason Todd, the Robin that gets murdered by the Joker. But I don't know. I don't know if Zack Snyder has read that one.
God, that's so bad. That's so bad.
We haven't really gotten into what this movie is about. What the plot of this movie is.
We just talked about why it's bad.
I think, and the plot of the movie is pretty vague and unspecific anyway. So the plot of the movie for a while is, for maybe the first like 45 minutes, is Amanda Waller is just like, wouldn't it be fun if I did a Suicide Squad? Kind of like The Founder when he's like, wouldn't it be fun if I did a McDonald's? But there's nothing happening or driving that plot. It's not like Founder where he's about to go broke. It's just like a movie where she's trying to make a Suicide Squad. There's no reason. There's no impending threat. Yeah.
And it's because David Harbour's in this movie, right? He's one of the guys, and he has a great thing where he's like, what if Superman flew into the White House and stole the President of the United States? What would we do? And it's like, great question, Chief. This ain't the answer.
Yeah. Hopefully you can convince Superman that this Suicide Squad is going to be so boring that he'll just want to leave the planet because there's no promise in this team whatsoever, and leave the president without taking him to Mars or whatever. But I don't think Captain Boomerang and his Samsung powered boomerang is going to really make a big difference.
Yeah, right.
Exploding boomerangs. There's just one that has it's a drone, and then a couple that are sharp. It's so weird.
Yeah, it is.
Who do you think? Okay, let's rank the Suicide Squad members in terms of likeliness they could maybe kill Superman.
All right.
I'm gonna start with Enchantress. She's the only one that could conceivably do it. Yeah. Superman has a vulnerability to magic, and also she almost destroys the Earth, so
yeah, she'd get it done.
Useful. I mean, there's no way they know that. There's no way they have any they don't even really seem to know magic exists. So I'm sure they're like, I don't know, maybe magic if Superman gets, goes crazy. Who's next though?
Whoa, boy. Killer Croc? No, Katana.
Maybe.
Katana, right? Katana?
Oh, yeah, sure, magic sword. See, I even am having, like, seen the whole movie, I still don't count her as part of the Suicide Squad.
Okay,
it's
fine.
weird that she hangs out with them at the end of the movie anyway, because she is just Rick Flagg's bodyguard. Why does she have any elite... Like, she gets all mad, too, when they, like, storm off, and they're like... I don't even know why they get mad at him, honestly. They look at his file, and the file tells us, again, a lot of information we already know. And they leave, which maybe I get, because they're like, you were going to kill us. But, like, she was voluntarily the bodyguard, so she would have killed him, too. Like,
yeah.
I don't... But, yeah, she just wants to get a beer or something, I guess. Yeah, I'd say she's probably number 2 as well.
So then Killer Croc, I guess.
So I'm having a hard time between Croc and Diablo. I don't think either of them could do it.
Diablo's good, yeah.
But I think maybe Diablo could, like, give him enough of a razz that he'd want to get away. We also don't know how Diablo works, so he might also be matched. You know what? Because he does turn into the big, Aztec fireman. So he does seem to have some sort of spirit of vengeance inside him or whatever. So yeah, Diablo number 2 or 3. I still think Katana should be number 1 because
spirit of vengeance. He's the Ghost Rider.
Pretty much, right? He's like the ghost, the ghost rider. For getting into it, he probably ghost ride something, right? That's a thing people still do. Probably not. But he would be number 3. Okay. I don't think Croc I think Croc might be at the bottom of my list.
Wait, below, like, Harley?
Yeah, because, like, so I'd say Deadshot is next.
Really?
Because...
Against Superman?
Yeah. Well, again, I think we're at the part... I think we're having crossed... Diablo off the list. I think we're at the guys that could never even kind of do it. But at least with Deadshot, it's like, give him a kryptonite bullet, he could probably hit him, and then he's dead. Like, he doesn't have that. But, like, if Lex Luthor contracted him, gave him a couple of kryptonite bullets, he'd only need one because he's Deadshot, I think he could kill Superman. So then you're left with Killer Croc, Captain Boomerang, and Harley Quinn. And Slipknot, who is obviously last.
Right. Okay.
I don't know. I think Harley... Oh, here's the other thing. See, I don't know. This is like evil Superman, right? But would Superman hurt a girl? I think she might just have an advantage over the other two because his code of ethics might stop him from punching her into the sun, whereas the other two are going immediately into the sun. But, yeah, I don't know. Maybe Killer Croc can be next.
Okay. You're right. At this point, it's like none of these guys are going to kill Superman. And
well, in this movie, what is Killer Croc?
He could be underwater all the time.
Does he have superpowers?
Well, he's just a metahuman, right? I don't know. Is being a big crocodile a superpower?
Well, like when Amanda Waller describes him in his stupid dossier scene, she pretty much just says he has a skin condition, and he's kind of tall. Because that's the thing. He's not, like, obviously this character, and I'm sure they'll do this in the new movie, he should be CGI, and he should be 10 feet tall. Because then you're like, oh, okay, so this guy's something. Whereas this guy, I could see this being just a guy with a skin condition and he has, like, pointy teeth, but maybe he sanded his teeth down. I don't know if you can really
and he could breathe underwater.
Yeah. Like,
was Waller just being cheeky with that line, though? That's what I thought.
I'd say, it's very possible. So he could maybe be 3. He could, like, punch Superman, I guess. Maybe get really lucky. He could also take a punch from Superman, which is important, which I think is what our next two guys are going to have a real hard time with. So then Harley Boomerang. See, Boomerang has a ranged weapon, which maybe give him a kryptonite boomerang, and that could work.
Okay.
But he's a dumbass, so I don't think it would happen. Like, I don't think it would help. So
that's true.
Yeah, I would say Harley, Boomerang, Slipknot for the bottom of the pile.
Okay. So that's it. Superman flies in, steals the president. Go get him.
So yeah, then they release Enchantress. She goes bad too, and then starts her own problems. And then they send the goon, like the bottom of the squad, over to get her, while Deadshot, Katana, and you know what? Don't even bother with Deadshot. Katana and Diablo, you guys try to kill Superman. Deadshot, Harley, Boomerang, and I guess Slipknot if you're still alive by this point. The actual Suicide Squad, you guys try to go kill Enchantress.
Yeah. What would be funny is if David Harbour briefs the White House, and what if the Suicide Squad we created went rogue and is about to destroy the world? What would we do?
Yeah.
Develop another Suicide Squad.
Yeah, I think that's the part of it that really gets me, is I still, having watched the movie many times, because I've made a video about this and like I'd seen the movie before, I still don't understand what the thought just what the chain of events and the logic that gets you from A to like F in this movie. Because Amanda Waller, that's the whole pitch, is the David Harbour thing, which is like, we got to fight Superman. Metahumans are dangerous, but we got some, so let's manipulate them. Then Enchantress goes rogue. Does the army know that it's her? Is that like a fact? Or is that something that they kind of find out?
Yeah, I don't know, actually. That's a good point.
Because, I mean, the real problem in my mind with all the Suicide Squad business and like understanding, getting from like A to C, is the Suicide Squad is assembled to rescue Amanda Waller, but not by Amanda Waller. And the Suicide Squad doesn't know she's there. So why were they scrambled in the first place? To kill Enchantress?
I guess so, yeah. Which is why aren't you sending Flash or, Wonder Woman, like whatever, why are these the yahoos that you're sending,
But then they get to the city and Rick Flag is like, all right, Suicide Squad, it's not even like, here's your detour. It's like, here is the mission. We're going to this building to pick up an asset. And it turns out to be Amanda Waller. But like, they couldn't have known that.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Like this couldn't have been premeditated. Like, it seems like they were brought to the city to take out like whatever the issue was.
Yeah,
that was my assumption. That's why the premise of the Suicide Squad doesn't make sense. It seems like the rescue of Amanda Waller is an afterthought. Like, that couldn't have been premeditated, right?
I would think so too. But they're told when they are assembled, your mission is to rescue this asset.
Are they?
Yeah, that's what Amanda says they have to do. And then Deadshot's like, what's this asset? And she's like, it's a need-to-know problem. You don't need to know, or something like that.
Oh, shit, you're right.
So,
damn it.
Does Amanda Waller at some point just like hack the Suicide Squad and be like, Rick Flag, I know they told you to kill the Enchantress, but it'd be really cool if you could come use the Suicide Squad to find me, and then we'll get in a helicopter and leave.
I guess,
Because they're getting in a helicopter to leave. They're not like, all right, let's do mission 2.
Yeah,
they're
let's
like,
get out of here, yeah.
Nailed it. Yeah, all right, see ya. What?
And like, why do they need the Suicide Squad to rescue her? Couldn't you just get a regular helicopter?
Have they tried sending on army guys? Because, yeah, they're landing the this movie. So I really think the plan, if the helicopter didn't crash in the beginning, Suicide Squad lands on the building Amanda Waller is in, they go downstairs, fight some goons, get Amanda Waller, go upstairs, everyone leaves.
To be a short movie. Might be a better movie.
I think, well, I mean, then thank God they knocked that helicopter out of the sky. But then it's like, well, who's dealing with Enchantress? What's the, like, I think that they would all get home and the army general would be like, oh, cool, Amanda Waller, wasn't sure what happened to you. So how's the Suicide Squad mission going? And she's like, oh, yeah, it was me and we're done. We got it. And they're like, no. Your job was to kill the witch thing. Suicide Squad member 1. And then she'd be like, oh, you wanted... I thought it was just to get me. We miscommunication. Sorry. Well, the big sky beam has already happened, so we're all going to die.
Too bad Superman's dead. Why would we kill him?
Bummer. And I'm really confused about this. And I think this is probably a like if the first scene after Enchantress powers up and kills people isn't those generals being like, quick, assemble a Suicide Squad, I would probably be okay with Amanda Waller's just doing this to protect herself. I'd still be like, this seems pretty short-sighted, but whatever. But I don't, and I just don't understand, like, they have to go upstairs to get her, But if they landed the helicopter on the roof, there wouldn't have been guys. I guess they didn't know that, but wouldn't she know that? She's in the building. She's got cameras and stuff.
Yeah, well, is that why they called him? Oh, man, this movie's so fucking confusing. I fucking hate this movie.
It's so weird. It doesn't make not like, obviously it doesn't make sense, but like it makes like anti-sense. The characters could see the future and they're like they're just all the things they're doing. It's clearly written to get to a point, but then the story takes like hard lefts and rights away from the point and then teleports to the point. Like, it's not even like the characters go, because the characters do have that bit where they're like really mad at Rick Flag because of his dossier full of information about the Enchantress, I guess. But this is only a problem because Harley tried to escape, helicopter crash, they went to get her. right? Dossier? After that?
Yeah.
It's in a crashed helicopter. And that might be Amanda Waller's crashed helicopter then.
Oh, yeah, because that's the one that, in the extended version, she tries to fight her way because no one can take her down.
But then, do they pass the helicopter that Harley fell out of? Is she like sitting? She's sitting on just a rubble, some stuff.
Yeah, it's like he's gone. No.
Yeah. So then, it seems like the only reason the Suicide Squad even bothers with the Enchantress is because their whole job is to protect Amanda Waller, and Amanda Waller got kidnapped by the Enchantress.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, because they find out, Amanda Waller's captured. We got to go after Enchantress, and it's like, oh, God.
Yeah, like I think that Will Smith and the rest of the team, but mostly Will Smith, gets angry because he's like mad hearing about what the Enchantress is doing, but it really seems more like he would be mad like, wait a second, why are we here at all? Like, is this the whole thing? You don't want us to kill the witch? But it's not like Rick Flag is like, I don't want her to die because I love her so much, or he's mind controlled by her. It's just like he's like following Amanda Waller's weird orders that don't make any sense.
Yeah, exactly.
So then, so one more question before we get off this.
Sure.
Amanda Waller gets kidnapped by the Enchantress. So Amanda Waller has Enchantress's hearts?
Yes.
Or does she?
She does, and I think that's how the Enchantress gets it back to be at full power.
Is that when, because Amanda Waller had it, she grabs the heart from her after her helicopter crashed?
I believe so.
So then, Amanda Waller being there fucks up everything. Like, the only reason, like, it really is like the climax only happens because Amanda Waller gets kidnapped, and it's only difficult because Amanda Waller had the heart. But if Amanda Waller wasn't there, or the heart wasn't there, it wouldn't matter. Like, none of it matters. It's such a weird bunch of coincidences that lead you to where this movie ends up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And obviously the ending sucks, so it's like, by that point you're checked out. But yeah, it's so confusing.
And a lot of helicopter crashes. We would not be here if not for all those helicopter crashes. A lot of helicopters died to
could you just
this movie.
I mean, I guess the trains are down. You can probably drive, right? Just something. Helicopters because they're not just flying helicopters in a city. They're flying them like between buildings, like in the Godzilla 2000 movie.
Amazing.
They're asking to get knocked out of the sky. After the first helicopter gets knocked out of the sky, you think Amanda Waller would call some helicopters and they'd be like, whoa. No helicopters, miss. You must have not heard what happened to us. We're going to just figure something out. We're walking home. Walking has been no trouble. It seems like there is just this monster has a very, very like low level, like infantry and a really high level anti-aircraft tentacle thing. So as long as we can avoid that, we're going to be okay.
This is a nightmare scenario for us.
Yeah. But I really want to go in the helicopter. All right, we'll see. Maybe this will be different. Maybe this is the one time it will work.
I feel like the first thing after the events this happens is like, hey, we should look into all these helicopters.
Yeah.
Are they safe enough?
We should maybe get someone who's like good at helicopters instead of the Slipknot rope man. He's probably a villain who can fly a helicopter pretty well.
If you think about it, the helicopters are all really safe because people don't die in the helicopter crashes. It's like that's really good.
You should really just be tossing helicopters at the villain. Have more than one, like 7 or 8 helicopters and just see how that goes. Because you know what else is weird about this movie? Having seen Avengers 4 years before and just like, movies like this before, at no point does the army consider nuking her or anything like that,
Yeah.
That could be your ticking clock. It's just like, why are we even bothering killing her? Well, if we don't and they nuke her, it'll destroy the entire city or something. And I guess the city's already been evacuated still, whatever.
Oh, God, I hate this movie.
How funny would it be if they sent the Suicide Squad on their mission, and then while they were on their mission, Superman came back to life and kidnapped the president just for fun? They were like, all right, get the Suicide Squad. Oh, fuck, they're doing a thing. God damn it. This was the only way we were going to figure this out. Like, it's so weird, because, the whole conceit, this movie The weirdest thing about this movie to me is, like, in the bigger picture of the DCEU, it should come after Man of Steel, right? Like, it should take place in that negative zone between, like, Superman, is he good or bad? And then the Suicide Squad happens, and it's like, we need to get a thing to kill Superman. They fail or do all their nonsense. Time passes, Batman v Superman happens.
Yeah.
Because the answer, like, when when Hopper is like, what would happen if a Superman went evil? What would we do to stop him? We kill him like we did last time. This isn't a problem.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
Did you not see?
We call Batman.
Yeah, Batman would probably do it on his own. We wouldn't even, he's been planning it for weeks. Or Lex Luthor would do it. There's a whole bunch of guys, and their whole thing is they want to kill Superman, and they have tons of money and the means to get it done. And you want to get the Boomerang crew. Why waste your time? Just throw money at Batman, or I don't know. Figure out what he's been doing.
Call up Lex Luthor, get him out of jail.
They're not, like, they know kryptonite's a thing. They're not like, well, we should get kryptonite. That's probably, like, and I know the Superman thing's kind of a hypothetical, but it's just an example. But it's the only logical example at this point. It's like the only situation they've had that's even close. Like, they don't know. It's not just going to be another Kryptonian. So they don't make a mech suit to punch him. They don't get any kryptonite. They don't work with Lex Luthor. They don't try to talk to Bruce Wayne. Amanda Waller does later, but she doesn't bring it up. They just get dinner and exchange files. And her files are just about the other superheroes that she knows exist, but doesn't bother calling. But, like, yeah, it's bizarre. This movie coming after Batman v Superman is so stupid, because obviously Batman and Wonder Woman exist now, so that's like a bigger deal. But, like, what the hell is... It's not even, because you know what it could be, and this isn't, it's still pretty stupid, but it's not as stupid. Batman killed Superman, right? What if Batman decides to kill the president? Then the Suicide Squad could kind of help. Maybe getting Batman's villains together is useful, but instead it's Superman. What are they thinking? Like,
oh, what a terrible movie.
It's just so weird, because this movie is full of these little unforced errors, and I'm watching it now, like, as someone with a little bit of perspective on, like, where the DCEU went and how, like, because when we did our Suicide Squad recap episode, we spend time talking about, like, I don't think this Justice League movie is going to be any good. And, like, I hope Wonder Woman doesn't crash and burn like this. And knowing kind of where it's going to go and how much they're going to deviate from the whole cinematic universe thing, it is really clear that they really don't want this Suicide Squad movie to be tied to the DCEU at all. Like, it ignores everything that happens in the DCEU leading up to it. So what's the point?
And, like, they could have done the Joker thing, where it's just like I don't know, an interesting one-off. Not that you're gonna make an auteur Suicide Squad, but, like, the idea of making a one-off movie with a different theme that is in no way tied to your universe is, you know, I'd buy that. Right.
No, I would too, if it's, like, you know, just a thing, like, it's just a movie.
A one-off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, like, then maybe you would have a little bit of an easier time assembling the Suicide Squad that makes sense for that movie and, like, building a problem for them. Like, I really just don't understand why Enchantress is on the Suicide Squad, why that's information we know. Like, it's not a great surprise for this third act, but it's a pretty decent surprise. It's like, you made the Enchantress, why are we listening to you? But instead, because I think this movie really wants to justify to its main characters why it's a Superman level problem instead of just a regular problem, because Superman is what this whole cinematic universe is based around. It has to explain why Enchantress is there and has to use her as the example, like, no, she's pretty good. Or we wouldn't buy into that. But if we didn't have to worry about all the, like, worldwide, like, planet-ending threats and just kind of got to set it in the real world where there weren't superheroes or, like, there weren't any really good ones, then Enchantress being part of the team doesn't need to happen until the main characters find out. And yeah, you can just treat it like a zombie movie until she shows up.
Or, like, you needed to make something, I don't know how you would do this, but, like, all right, Suicide Squad, we need you to assassinate the president of Uzbekistan. Like, what if that was the pitch to, like, the whoever they're pitching, the military? Like, what if we just wanted to murder a president and not have to, you know, be held accountable?
Well, I do think, like, that's kind of what, like, the Suicide Squad has I'm assuming, like, because it started in like the 70s or 80s as a comic book franchise, and it was pretty groundbreaking at the time, I guess. This idea of like Black Ops team, they were always in the jungle. Like, I think they're, and I kind of talked about this in my video, but they really do skew closer to just like Black Ops mercenary team than superhero group, and they always have. And having not like the benefit of hindsight, but looking at where comic books went and kind of everybody getting their own shot at a Suicide Squad. So like the Marvel did the Thunderbolts kind of, and like the second iteration or like third iteration where Norman Osborn makes a Suicide Squad. X-Men has the X-Force, which again, and I think it's second or third iteration, Wolverine just makes a group of killers. They always have a like objective like that. It's never this. It's always some sort of like clandestine operation. Because that's what all your guys do. They're all like assassins. They're not exactly superheroes. Which is why it's so weird that like Diablo and it's not really Killer Croc, but definitely why it's weird that Diablo's on that team at all. Yeah.
Oh,
what do you think they're gonna do with the next one?
I hope it's something more like you said, like clandestine and secretive. That would be far more interesting. And it's got to be like more fun. I know that's like not very obvious what that means, but like it has to be, you know, more lighthearted because like this movie was way too serious. It's way too serious for like what a Suicide Squad movie should be.
Oh, without a doubt. And there's flashes of it where they're not serious, and it's not terrible, but it's like it's definitely better. Where like you see when they are joking around, or like there's that bit. I think this is just in the extended cut. Or whatever it is. Yeah, extended cut. Where it's like Captain Boomerang and Harley are talking. And they're like coming up with the plan of like, here's how we're going to escape.
Yeah,
or just like, here's how we're going to cause trouble. And he tries to tell Diablo the plan. And Diablo's like, well, you're a killer, you know that? Or you're like, we're the bad guys. And he's like, yeah, I know. It's awesome. And then he leaves. And like stuff like that with a little bit more of like an acknowledgement. And not even acknowledgement, but just like the characters feel differently about like who they all are. And like that kind of should cause more friction because they don't really address, like sometimes they're like, hey, Captain Boomerang, don't steal that watch. Even though like, who cares? The guy who had it's a zombie's dead. Whatever. Let him take the watch.
When Harley goes to break and get like the purse out from the store, and
right?
They're all like, "What?" It's like, "What? We're bad guys," and even that felt a little heavy-handed. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
But like, I get the point,
because they do it
right?
a couple times in the movie.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're like, bad guys.
At the bar scene, I think someone also is like, "What do you think? We're the bad guys," or something like that.
Yeah.
But the idea that like they are all different kinds of guys, where it's like Harley, psychopath. They do play with that a little bit. Deadshot, killer. Boomerang might as well just be Deadshot, but wants money. In this, like they don't really have feelings about each other. Diablo, super killer, hates everybody else. But like there's so many of them. Like Killer Croc. Well, what's his deal? How does he fit into this team? And that's why he's so forgettable, I think, as a character, is because he has no like personality whatsoever. We don't even really know why he's in prison besides he's a cannibal. It almost seems like they found him in that swamp or like in that sewer, and they were just like, we should probably keep feeding him, but I don't really know what he's doing here. I don't know. Is it illegal to be a cannibal?
I don't know. It is Louisiana though, right? That's where the black site is, so I guess that makes sense from
right. And what's his name? Yeah, Killer Croc is usually from Louisiana. Waylon Jones, I want to say is his name. He's like, and I mean, this one wasn't like that's another thing. Just make him funny and like make him like, you know, give him an accent or something, you know?
Yeah, some Creole, you know.
Yeah, his character sucks. You know what I hate about him too? I really hate it. I think Killer Croc is not. I mean, the Joker's the worst part of the movie, but Killer Croc, I think they've bungled a lot of him. He has that thing that they do with Beast sometimes in movies that I don't like, and I've seen less of it. Beast is really the only other one I can think of, where they have him roar, but it's mixed in this really weird way. Like it's just a sound effect. You know, like it doesn't seem like it's coming out of his mouth. And they also have him do what they do with Beast in the X-Men movies, where he just like flings his arms around, and then they animate guys flying around that are thrown by him or like use wires, but I never get it almost like never get a sense that he's in the room with the rest of them because his audio doesn't sound like it and his effects don't look real where the other ones do. His everything about him is so strange to me.
Yeah, I agree.
But I think he'll probably be replaced by King Shark in this next one. I mean, we know that King Shark will be there, but I think it'll be way more they'll kind of do him again, but with King Shark, and it'll probably work a lot better.
Right. Yeah, right. Sigh.
Yeah. Anything else? Any other thoughts about this movie?
I've said my... I remembered I wanted to mention this. This isn't a nitpick. It's like a fun... Not like a factoid. Sure, it's a factoid. If you're ever on Jeopardy and you get to use this, congrats, I guess. So Amanda Waller has like the top secret thing that she throws on the table, like when she briefs the Suicide Squad.
Right.
So you can find this on the internet. I'm not like saying anything that you like couldn't find. But top secret cover sheets are orange, not red. But like a lot of movies usually make them red, but they're orange.
Huh. Is it because there's a higher level that's red?
No, secret is red, and then top secret is orange. I don't know why that is.
Yellow?
No, it's blue.
Not just for school buses.
Yeah, it's blue, orange, and blue, red, and orange. So
interesting.
Green, blue, red, orange. I guess technically. So yeah,
it's kind of like.
There's your fun factoid.
It's good to know.
I guess.
I mean, of course they would mess that up, kind of.
Oh, I'm not blaming them for that. I'm sure there's a Marvel movie that's done like the exact same thing, and like
Yeah, that's true. We just wouldn't think about it. Oh, we'd never notice, but it's so boring in this movie.
Yeah, I'm just like, get out of here.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so next week is the Lego Batman movie.
Exciting.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, and obviously this Joker's the worst. Negative yo-hos.
Oh, God. I will remove as many yo-hos as it takes.
Yeah.
Just terrible outing.
He's the worst. Horrible laugh, horrible jokerness, horrible funniness, horrible maniacalness. Like all three of the qualities are all bad.
No, the psychoticness isn't really there. It's kind of just like slapped on.
Do you think, by the way, because like we kind of not like got lucky, but like Joker from Dark Knight, so Heath Ledger and Mark Hamill and Cesar Romero, I maybe not as much for Jack Nicholson and definitely Joaquin Phoenix, all do a really good laugh. I'm not so sure Jared Leto can do the traditional Joker laugh because like not everybody has the register for it, which is why I think he does this stupid little laugh. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
There's like a bigness to it that his doesn't have, and it's I think the reason he does his stupid laugh is because he couldn't do the real laugh. Maybe.
No, I buy that.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jared. I'm not sorry. You like mailed condoms to people,
Yeah, he did weird shit too. Like, I mean, we talked about that a lot in our original recap episode, so like go hang out with that one. And I think most of this is pretty different. But yeah, he did like some really insane stuff. And
like really fucked up.
And it seems very like performative, like for the cameras and for like, clickbait and stuff.
Yeah.
It really made me just like be like, oh, he seems awful, like in real life. And the fact that he would just go with it just makes me like never want to hang out with this guy. So it didn't, it was, it's so funny because we went from the Joker with the most goodwill in history, great actor, dies post performance, but like before the movie came out, and left behind a wonderful legacy, to bad performance, jerky actor, never want to see him again. Like just awful. All right, DJ, do you want to get to our classic segment?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, you got anything to recommend to the fine people?
Yeah, so this is a very different recommendation this week, but Nando, are you familiar with the band Tool?
Yeah, I know Tool. I'm aware of them. I don't know them. I'm not a big music guy, but I was around when they were like in the late 90s, early 2000s, whenever they happened.
Yeah, so they actually came out with a new album about a week ago.
I've heard people talking about this.
Yeah, it's called Fear Inoculum. The whole thing's like 5 hours long. It's
God.
like, I mean, like with Tool albums.
Suicide Squads.
Yeah.
Far too long.
Better off listening to the Tool album. But if you haven't heard the band, I don't even know like what genre to put them in. It's like new wave metal. What does Google say? Google says alternative metal, art rock, post metal, progressive metal, progressive rock. Yeah, that's all.
I've always had trouble understanding what alternative even means anymore. So
Yeah.
I just kind of lump them all in that category.
It's all alternative, right?
Yeah.
So new album, so good. If you haven't listened to them, like definitely, like I guess I could recommend the band Tool. If you haven't listened to them, really good. But like if you're aware of them and you kind of like them, definitely listen to their new album. It's just it's one of those things where their last album was so like long ago. I want to say it was like late 2000s. Like it might have been almost 10 years since their last album.
Yeah, that
Maybe
sounds
not
right.
Quite that. Holy shit. 2007. Yeah. So never mind. It's been a long time. And apparently they would be working on this album forever, like for more than like 5-6 years. So absolutely worth it. Check it out. Fear Inoculum by Tool. Yeah, it's my recommendation. Really, really good album. Love it.
Nice. All right. I'll recommend two things, good thing, bad thing. Good thing I saw at Astra this week.
What did you think? We haven't talked about this. That's why I'm so excited.
It's interesting. It's very
no.
I think it's good. I think it's more successful at some things than other things. Like I think it's funny because like the trailers are full of like gunfights and action scenes, and I really think those feel like tacked on. Like we need to give this something for the people. Like, but it's very, the futurism part of it's very interesting, where it's like, oh, it's space travel be like if it was like planes and it was boring. Like that part of it's cool. And Brad Pitt's very good, but it's just like a really pretty movie because it's it's like interstellar-y, but less like theoretical and more just like, it would look cool if you flew by Jupiter, So
yeah.
That aspect of it is good. And it takes a really long time for me before I kind of figured out, not like what was going on. It's not like a twist, but like what the movie was about and what the important themes and stuff were. But once I got that, I think I appreciated it more. It seems like a movie you'd probably want to see in a theater, but it seems like you'd want to see it with a really responsible audience because it's very quiet, and I have a feeling kids would definitely start taking out their phones.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, which is a shame.
So that was your good or your
That's
bad?
my good. Here's my bad. I watched 4 out of 7, and I'm working on 5 episodes of a Netflix show called The Island. DJ, have you heard of this?
No.
It is being hailed as the worst television show maybe ever. It is kind of like Lost. It very much wants to be Lost, but it's also like there's a conspiracy or something, or there's something going on that is super clear, not like immediately, but pretty quickly, or like the way that some things are edited, you're like, oh, I see what they're going for. The acting is god awful, like just some of the worst. The writing is really bad, and I feel bad being like super negative about it, but like you'll see it and you're like, yeah, there's no other way to describe this, but it is kind of fun to watch because of that. So the way people are delivering exposition and sentences that are just like insane. I think it gets a little bit less fun as it goes, but at this point I just want to see it through.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean, the first episode, probably all you need to watch. Oh, excuse me. First episode, probably all you need to watch, but yeah, it's wild. In terms of just how much of a mess it is. I also, you know what else I watched? 'Cause it's been a couple days since we did this. I watched first couple episodes of the Dark Crystal show. We talk about this?
Not really. No.
It's pretty good. I'm not a big fan of I never saw the original movie. I don't know too much about it, but just as far as a thing to watch, I'm pretty interested.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, puppets and. Like Lord of the Ringsy style, like, these are the Glepflobs, and they live in the Glumplin Forest, and they, like, a lot of that, a lot of ponderous exposition, but it's still kind of fun.
It's like,
other thing, I haven't watched this yet, but I'm really excited for the Between Two Ferns movie, I think that is on Netflix now.
I saw the trailer for that today. I'm going to watch it this weekend. It looks awesome.
Yeah, me too. I'm psyched. Oh, and I'm going to be Twitch streaming probably in the next couple of days some of the Arkham games. So I'll wreck those since we already talked about them like crazy. But yeah, twitch.tv/NandoVMovies is where you can check that out. It's pretty great. All right. Yeah. Anything else?
Oh, I got
DJ?
one last rec.
Yeah, wreck away.
Great name. It's a great game. It's called Gloomhaven.
Oh, finally.
Yeah, if you haven't heard of it, it's #1 game on Board Game Geek. Check it out. Awesome dungeon crawler role-playing game, tabletop. So great. Love Gloomhaven.
Sounds terrific. It's first I've heard of it, but it just, I don't know, it feels so familiar.
I think someone tweeted us that like they looked into Gloomhaven and they're like, this looks like the worst thing ever. Not in terms of like a game, but in terms of just like complexity, and that's absolutely true.
Oh, I believe it. Yeah, everything I've read about it makes it seem like that. I will say, you know what? Speaking of extra Rex, House of X, the current like X-Men storyline is brilliant. I'm digging it. Also, J.J. Abrams made a Spider-Man comic that I do not hate. I think it's kind of interesting. I know some people have strong feelings against it, and I think I know why. But I think it's kind of cool.
All right,
So,
nice.
Yeah, I'd recommend maybe giving that a look. But definitely, if you can get caught up on Hickman, X-Men, House of X, Powers of X, some people are calling it Hoxpox because of those acronyms. It's very good. But yeah, so next week, Lego Batman movie.
Woo!
Get hyped. Until then,
I got one last. I got one last thing, and then we're done. I know we're like going long. Listeners, send your condolences to Nando at Nando V Movies for the loss of his beloved Drew Brees.
And I lost the Survivor pool.
And the Survivor
pool. I didn't
pool.
survive. My Eagles, I mean like, not even my Eagles, but the Eagles I trusted to kill the Falcons did not do that.
Falcons killed Eagles.
Game.
Apparently.
It's so bad.
All right, I'm done.
That's all I got too. So next week, Lego Batman. Until then, I am at Nando V Movies on Twitter.
I'm at Zippy by Day.
Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye.
Woo.